Welcome to Free in My Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of Joker. The Joker. The greatest supervillain in the history of comic books. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. There may be more powerful characters, stronger characters, maybe even more intelligent characters, but there's no other supervillain that has made quite an impression on me as the Joker. Whether it's been Jack Nicholson, whether it's been the comics themselves, whether it's been Mark Hamill in the animated series, greatest superhero animated series of all time, and actually my favorite animated series, period. Or Heath Ledger with the performance of a lifetime as the Joker in The Dark Knight. The Joker on his best day, for me, wipes the floor with any other great villain. He just does. Just like Batman does for me on the hero spectrum. So, but I'll be honest, when they first announced this movie, I was like, Joker movie? Joker movie without Batman? What? Then they announced Heath Ledger. I mean, not Heath Ledger, I'm sorry. Then they announced Joaquin Phoenix. I said, okay. Joaquin has been a favorite of mine for a very, very long time. Really since the 90s, really. And then it really went even further when he did Gladiator and Walk the Line, and he's just a fantastic actor. So after the disappointment of Suicide Squad, both as a film and its terrible portrayal of the Joker, like when that movie came out and I came out of that, I said, how do you do the Joker terribly? Like, that's a miracle to make a bad Joker. Like, I never really seen a bad Joker. Like, the closest bad Joker that I've ever seen before that point was, for me, the Beetlejuice-looking Joker in the Batman animated series, with the no shoes on and the weird pants and the hair. It was just weird. But that wasn't even as bad to me as, I don't know what they were doing in Suicide Squad with the dumb tattoos and the just weird stuff that the Joker in my mind wouldn't care about, wouldn't focus on, and didn't think the performance was as unique for the character as it needed to be. Like, when you see Jack Nicholson's Joker, you know that's Jack Nicholson's Joker. When you see Heath Ledger's Joker, you know that's Heath Ledger's Joker. Mark Hamill, same thing. And with Leto, there were some moments in his voice that sounded like he was just trying to do Heath again or something. And then everyone's run down their problems with Suicide Squad Joker. I don't feel like I need to waste my time or waste this review's time doing it. So Joker, Joker's an interesting. It's so interesting that it was done by Todd Phillips, because it's funny. Everyone hates the Hangover sequels. I actually like the Hangover sequels, and one of the things that I liked about them was you can tell watching those movies that Todd Phillips has his eyes set on more quote unquote serious movies, because the Hangover movies are not shot like comedies. Comedies have a certain aspect ratio usually, or they have a certain visual style and sense, and they're like, a lot of them are very overly lit, and no matter if they're rated R or PG-13 comedies. In the Hangover movies, they did things visually that just made me think, this is shot like a drama in a way. It's still a comedy, but it's like the colors, the way his use of framing. It really seemed like he was ready to tackle a different genre, because he'd been doing comedy for so long. And then he kind of proved me right with War Dogs, with his movie about the two young arms dealers with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill. And I was like, okay, Todd, I see you. But man, I don't think those movies and what he does in those movies can prepare you for what he does in this film. A lot of people are going to be shocked. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, already who watch this film and adore this film, Joker, and are going to be shocked that it was done by Todd Phillips, because of just the amount of care, artistry, sure-handedness on both the characters and the pacing and the presentation is just it's just glorious. And for this to be arguably his first time doing a completely serious film, because even War Dogs had some funny moments in it, but to I don't think anything he's done probably will prepare most people for what he does in Joker. Joker is Joker's a glorious film. It really is. It really is. And it's the type of film that I not only love to watch but love to make. The film where the lead character this is really a world. I did a movie called Hitman Sorrow, and I wrote a tagline that was a homage to the Dark Knight's poster. Dark Knight's poster had a tagline that said "Welcome to a world with no rules," which I always adored. And for Hitman Sorrow, I made the tagline for that: "Welcome to a world with no heroes," because there were no good guys in that film, and the only innocent good people in the movie get slaughtered. And I've always felt like it was so interesting. It's so interesting when your lead character is not a hero, not somebody whose actions you can or probably should be defending. That's one of the reasons why Martin Scorsese's work, like Goodfellas, Casino, Wolf of Wall Street, for example, just using those three as an example, interest me so much and speak to me so much because of the rules. The rules tell us, oh, your character's got to be interesting. Character's got to have a catharsis. Your character, a positive catharsis. Your character's got to show growth. Yeah, he shows growth, all right, Arthur. It does in this movie, and it's just, I adore work like that. I adore work that totally says, the hell with the rules. I'm not here for your rules. I'm here for my character. I'm not here for your rules. I'm here for my story. And of course, this is the most different interpretation of the Joker that I've ever seen. Because most of the time, Joker's origin is simple. You don't know it. All you know is he fell into a vat of acid and he's a madman. He's the clown prince of crime. He's a genius. This is a little different because it's almost like, Dark Knight took that vat of acid thing out, but kept the mystery, which kind of made Heath Ledger's Joker so scary to me because this guy didn't fall into a vat of acid. He's actually wearing makeup. His skin's not pale white. He's actually wearing makeup. So this guy is naturally insane. This guy is naturally a psychopath, and that made Heath Ledger's Joker scarier to me than even the normal Joker, because there was nothing to be explained about him. Now, of course, going into this movie, you're like, because mostly I usually don't like evil being explained. I usually don't like the Joker's evil being explained. I don't like Michael Myers' evil being explained. But this one's a little different because it's such a different interpretation of the Joker in general. In that he has a name. He's not really the Joker in this movie, if you really think about it, until the really the very, very, very end. And even then, there's differences between this interpretation as opposed to the calm prince of crime. He's not really a guy who I could see Batman having any problems with, if they were to ever do that. But I don't really, watching this movie and judging this story, it doesn't feel like a world where Batman would exist. Because this is probably the worst Gotham I've ever seen. And unlike the Dark Knight trilogy, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for Gotham. There aren't that many good people in Gotham that are worth protecting, that are worth a Batman showing up for. Like when Batman tells Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, give me more time. There are good people here. Can't say that about this movie. Because everybody's an asshole. So sometimes you can't help understanding Arthur's plight here, because here's a mentally ill man. He's mentally ill. Society doesn't give a shit. Gotham doesn't care. Gotham doesn't care about the little guy. Maybe even more so than the world doesn't care about the little guy right now. And here's a guy who's mentally ill and in desperate need of help. But there's no one there to help him. His mother's a loon too. City's cutting funding for people like him. The only little joy he gets ruined by other people whose main joy themselves is the misery of others. What happens to a man like that? What happens to a man who is not well? Who's getting beat down like that? Who's getting pushed around like that? Here's one thing. You can either become Batman or you can become the Joker. Which is one of the things I always loved about the relationship between the two of them. When the going gets tough, you can either be Batman or you can become the Joker. That's how I always looked at those two characters. But this is about Joker. And to see him try so hard. This man is suffering, and Joaquin Phoenix nails the suffering of this character. Nails the pain of this character. A pain that everyone either chooses to ignore or they just don't give a shit. Before the makeup even comes to play, the true Joker makeup comes into play. Just the fantastic way he uses his body, his eyes, the fact that his laugh is uncontrollable, like a medical condition, so he's really miserable. He's sad, and you can see the terror in his face. You can see the pain in his eyes as his eyes are tearing up and tearful, but yet his mouth just can't stop laughing, and it's just unbelievable. It was just unfreaking believable how he performed all of that, and it just everything shines through, and it's just he carries this thing. He dominates it until the movie. I feel like in the third act is when the movie starts to match his work, and everything just comes together, and you start to see kind of the man, this man become the Joker that we know. And I just have to talk about one thing about the violence. I think people are really overdoing it, and in fact, I think this has gotten to the point where the media is just pushing this because it's a good headline. Because I've seen way more disturbing movies than Joker. I don't. It's just way more disturbing, way more violent. In fact, if there's one thing I would say about the film is that they could have went further. That I've gone further in my own stuff, but I think they wanted to keep you on Arthur's side as much as they can, while at the same time not justifying his actions and making you know that he's still wrong. But if there's one thing I would have pushed, it probably would have pushed more like this is the guy who's becoming the villain, the Joker. Whereas I kind of felt like I never left his side. So that was a weird feeling, but it's one that I've kind of grown to accept a couple of hours after seeing it. But I feel like you can't be afraid to tell dark stories like this. You can't be afraid to go to that line, to go through that threshold, because if art isn't willing to break lines and cross lines, then why is it even here? It can't just be consumerism. I have no problem with that. I love just my purely entertaining, having fun movies, but we can't just have one type of storytelling. We need to have line crossers. We need to have movies that push questions and push buttons and examine people and examine society. What could we do better as a people? What can we do better as a group? And Joker does that. Joker does that. Joaquin does that. And I really think people need to see this movie. Superhero fans, non-superhero fans, I don't care. You should really go check this out. Check this out in the theater. Check this out in IMAX. Check it out in Dolby. Check it out in 70mm. Do what you have to do to see this film. At least, if nothing else, to see Joaquin Phoenix's extraordinary work. He's one of the best we have, people. He's one of the greatest actors that we have. And I don't know if it's fair to say people are a little late to the party for that one. But you know what? If that's the case, it's better late than never. Check him out. Check him out. Check him, Honor Heath. check out Joker.